Well, a very good morning from Phuket. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, then please do check out some of my other content. Well, today we are going to be taking a look at the area known as Karon. I'm going to start in the northern part of the beach area because this is an area that I haven't really covered much, but it does have quite a bit to offer. Behind me is a Karon Park. They have markets on here from time to time. There isn't currently one on today, which is the 15th of March. So let's jump into the video and get going. Now, as many of you will know, if you know anything about Karon, there are a lot of hotels here in Karon scattered around, and the northern part is no exception. So just over the back there is the main Patak road that leads towards Patong, and here we have a place called On the Beach. They've got a shop. It looks like they do some food and drink, and there is some accommodation next door, and it actually looks a rather nice place. Now, I haven't stayed here personally. If you have, then please do drop a comment below. Let me know what you thought of On the Beach, because I don't really know a lot about it apart from the look of it. But as you can see, nice looking place. Not massive, but the rooms have got some balconies, at least the ones on the first floor have anyway, and overlooking not a massive pool, but a pool area. But of course, when you look at the hotel, the sea is just there, so not exactly far to go. So we're going to have a wander down here first, then I'm going to go onto the beach, and we're going to have a wander down the beach. Lots of different things to talk about today, because I haven't done many videos of late, even though I said I was going to. A lot going on at the moment in my personal life. Some of you may know that we have been, and we are in the process of buying a property, but here in Thailand, things are never quite as straightforward as you think. So this procedure of buying property here has taken a lot longer, and we're not quite there yet. And of course, the stress and the strain and the distraction of buying the property has affected the videos on my channel, unfortunately. I'm trying to do something about that. I'm trying to get back into making videos, because I know a lot of people are asking me when I'm going to be doing the next video. I started to do the Karon area, and I was going to cover it at night, and I am going to cover it at night, so don't worry about that. I should be back over in the next few days actually to do some more filming at night time. But I just thought we'd take a look at the beach because of the weather. Now, the Thai Met Office did give out a warning at the start or the end of February, saying March was going to be a very hot month, and indeed it has been, and it is. As you can see, I've got a jacket on, and you're probably asking, why am I wearing a jacket? Well, it's because the sun is very aggressive and you need to cover up, to be honest, because it's very easy to get burnt at the moment. Little place there, little restaurant. Don't see any name. I don't know what it's called, but again, if you've eaten there, please drop a comment down below. So if you are planning to come out here at the moment, I would strongly recommend that you up your factor of sun cream, because it's no joke at the moment. The sun is aggressive, to say the least, and people are getting burnt. Temperatures are hotter this March than last March by quite a bit actually. The weather is maybe bordering on uncomfortable at the moment. It's so hot. I don't actually remember the last time it rained. It's been at least 6 to 8 weeks since we've had any real rain. We had a shower maybe 3 weeks ago, one night, late in the night. It lasted probably 20 minutes, and that's the only rain that I can remember having. So the weather is just glorious at the moment. There's no other word for it. However, just be careful if you're going out in that sun, because a lot of people actually underestimate the sun here in Thailand, and this is why you see a lot of people, or Thai people, locals, wearing jackets, because they're quite aware of how dangerous the sun can be and how quickly you can get burnt in it. A few times that I've been out where I haven't been wearing a jacket, I've come back, and in the evening time I've taken my t-shirt off, and I can clearly see where I've been sunburnt. Now, because I live here, I've got out the habit of not applying sun cream every day. When you're on holiday, you get in that habit. But living here, I don't tend to do it, even though I have sun creams at home. I just forget. It's just one of those things that you just do when you're on holiday, but you don't seem to do when you live here, which is a bit silly, I will admit, but there you go. Okay, so we're right on the edge of the beach line here. Now, I can see here there's a bit of a canal that runs in, well, I don't know whether canal is really the right word to call it, but there is an outlet. Where this outlet runs from, I don't know, but these canals outlets have been in the media recently because there has been some reports of black water. Now, today's video isn't on black water, it's just generally on the Karon Beach area. We're going to be taking a look at it. But as I say, they have been in the media just lately, and I'm going to do a separate video on this issue because it seems to be coming back. Now, over the COVID period, all the black water disappeared. But now for some reason it's coming back. Now, a lot of people are speculating what this is. Now, honestly, I can't say. Some people are saying it's sewerage. Some people are saying it's algae formations. I'm not an expert on this, so I'm not going to say what it is. But obviously it doesn't look great. You can see it yourself there. Karon Beach has been in the media. Patong Beach has been in the media. Kamala Beach has been in the media because all the beaches have these outlets that run from, well, honestly, I don't really know where they run from, but I'm guessing they're coming from the waste treatment plants that are located further in town. So you can see it yourself. Now, the experts are saying it's to do with algae and the fact that they haven't been dredged. Again, I'm not an expert, but it just seems a little bit funny. You can see there it's coming down, that this has got worse since the COVID period finished and all the businesses, or most of the businesses now, are fully open. It's come back. It was a problem before COVID. It seemed to disappear during COVID with many of the businesses closed, but bearing in mind the officials are saying that this is not connected to do with the businesses, it's nothing to do with that, and the treatment plant should be taking care of that. Again, as I say, I can't speculate what's in this water, but you can see a lot of people complaining about it because it doesn't look particularly nice. And I've got to admit, I wouldn't want to swim in that water, even though you can see there is somebody wading in that area. Personally, myself, I wouldn't want to do it, but choice is yours. Now, people are asking where are the beaches that you can get away from this. Well, honestly, most of the main beaches such as Kata, Karon, Patong, Kamala, Surin have all got these outlets into the sea. So it's a difficult question to answer. What I would say is maybe if you're going to swim in the northern part, you go right up the top as far away as possible, or down the southern part. However, I will say as we go work our way down there are more outlets going into the sea, so it's difficult to get away from them completely, and you just sort of use your own common sense to, if you're not overly keen on being close to them, then swim away from them and go enter the water further away from them. That is my best advice at the moment. But I shall be doing a separate video on this, and I'm going to try and do a little bit more research in my videos now. I'm going to try and get a little bit more background information to make the videos more interesting, more reliable as a source of information. As you know, if you followed my channel over the years, I try to give good solid advice, common sense things on various different things to do with Phuket and Thailand in general. So that's my best advice at the moment, is try and stay as far away from them as possible. The issue has subsided a little bit in the media because a jellyfish problem, which was my last video that I did on my channel, my main channel, has sort of been more in the media of late because we have been having some problems with jellyfish, and we still are. Even yesterday and today I saw on my group that people have been reporting jellyfish in Surin and Camelon and different beaches, Kata I believe, and also Karon. So I'm going to keep my eye open to see, but they come and go. The reason why we're having more this year, I'm not quite sure. I mean, jellyfish are in the water or in the waters around Phuket most of the year, to be honest, but they're normally further out at sea and you don't really see them close in the shoreline. But this year has definitely been different, especially at this time. You normally see them when the rains are here, the monsoons, because obviously the currents are different, the winds blow them in close to the shoreline. However, this year they seem to be a problem, or an intermittent problem. They're not a problem every day. At the moment, I can't see any evidence of right where I am at the moment of any jellyfish. And plenty of people, as you can see, in the water enjoying themselves. Now, if you're the type of person that wants to get away from the parasols and sun loungers, which we're going to talk about in a moment, then the northern end, as you can see for yourself, doesn't have any, and it's probably the only area that you're going to be able to go to and get away from them, because looking down the beach it looks like they're sort of taking over. Now again, this is something that has been and is in the media currently. There are a lot of people complaining about most of the beaches along the west coast of Phuket regarding the sunbeds, the parasols. They're taking over. In fact, on some beaches, Karon in particular, there's so many you can hardly see the beach at all. Now, the actual laws regarding sunbeds are being abused, I would say, by the vendors, because all beaches in Thailand, as I've mentioned many times, are public beaches, and the vendors have got an agreement, I believe, that they should only take 10% of the beach area. Obviously there's a need. I understand that some people want to have sunbeds, of course they do. They want the shade of the parasol, they want to be able to relax without actually lying directly on the sand. However, there's a fine line between supplying a service and it taking over. And unfortunately, starting from there, as far as I can see, there is no more breaks when it comes to sunbeds and sun lounges. So what happens is the vendors just keep adding more and more and more. And this isn't fair to the people that don't want to use the sunbed services, because there have been instances where the vendors have actually moved people away from the area that they are renting sunbeds, which really they don't have the ability or the legal right to do that, because most of these sunbeds, parasols, are on the beach illegally. Now there are measures in place, and the government are going and visiting the beaches as and when and removing the sunbeds. Nui Beach, which is a beach that they charge you to go on to, has been investigated over the last week, and that is being removed. All the buildings, the properties that are encroaching on forest land. That land there where that beach is actually owned by the Forestry Commission and is not allowed to have anything there. However, over the years they've taken advantage and they've built some permanent structures that do infringe and encroach on the land of the forestry and on the beach itself as well. So it's very difficult to comment too much about this because I don't know everything about Thai law, but most of these sunbeds that you can see are actually illegal. So just bear this in mind when you're using these sunbed services. It's all about supply and demand, and I know some people do need the services of sunbeds. I understand that, but of course the more the demand there is, the more sunbeds you're going to get, and this is where the problem lies, because they start to take over and it spoils the beach in a way because there's just too many of them. But as you can see, we are middle of March, a lot of people on the beach at Karon. What a lot of people in the sea. No signs of any jellyfish on the shoreline, but I'm not saying there's none in the water, because people are now saying that you can't actually see them until you're in the water and they're really close, because obviously some of the jellyfish are very translucent, lucent is the word I'm looking for, and you can't see them till you're almost on top of them, and of course that is a little bit too late if they are the stinging ones. Now there are some that don't sting, but most of them do, and many people have reported being stung by them. So I'm going to mention it again. Please be aware, at the moment there still is a problem with jellyfish. Now it's not every day, and I believe some of the beaches now have got signs also warning people of the issue of jellyfish. Now for people who are wondering the cost of these sunbeds, they're normally 200 baht, and that will give you 2 chairs and a parasol. There's many people asking about the prices of sunbeds. They're normally around that sort of price. But just bear in mind what I've said about the fact that most of these are not supposed to be here. You can actually see there, it's quite busy indeed. People are often asking me which is the best beach here in Phuket. Now honestly, that is a very difficult question to answer, simply because it comes down to individuals' preferences and what they like. Karon Beach is no doubtedly a very good beach. It's longer than Katta's. It's got reasonable facilities on the beach, i.e. sunbeds, water sports. There are a few places where you're going to be able to get food and drink, not loads, but there are a few places, especially down towards the southern end of the beach. You're going to find the Tan Terrace Beach Club, which I will mention can be expensive. I have been in it. It's a nice place, but it's not cheap. Of course, if you're on holiday and money's not an issue, you want to enjoy yourself, maybe you want to check that out. It's a nice place. I've eaten in there. They have, you know, popular music on in there. You can have a good evening in there, afternoon, whatever the case may be, but it will cost you to enjoy their facilities. There are other places along Karon Beach to enjoy as well, so it doesn't necessarily have to cost you a fortune. So there are reasonable facilities here on Karon's Beach. So I would say Karon Beach is one of the better beaches here in Phuket, depending on your preferences. Is it the best beach? Well, that's for you to decide, not for me, because there are so many good beaches here in Phuket. In fact, you are actually spoiled for choice in Phuket because there's so many. If you want busy beaches, then Katta Karon, Patong will offer you those. Kamilar's a little bit less busier. Surin is a busy beach. And then you have places like Anyon, Koh Kad, which are a lot quieter. So if you want to get away from the crowds, people often ask me which beach should they visit if they don't want all this. Then I would say Anyon, Koh Kad, they are nice beaches and you're going to find them a lot quieter. And they still do have restaurant areas where you're going to be able to get food and drink. So you're not going to be miles away from nowhere. Now, of course, you've got places like Banana Beach, which are further north or going towards the airport. Those beaches, again, have been in the media because there's some encroachment on the beach area by the vendors, setting up restaurants, etc., etc. Again, this isn't strictly legal. So a little break there from the sunbeds, but then it starts again. Only this time it looks like it's about 6 deep, so there's even more in this section here. People have asked, can they get long tail boats from Karon's Beach? Well, Honestly, looking along the beach, I do not see many long-tail boats moored up. There is one over there. Whether that's a fishing boat or whether it's a long-tail boat for the tourists that you can go out to the trip, out onto the islands or the different beaches, I'm not sure. Maybe it will be listed here and maybe you can get one. Let's go over and have a look, because again, people are interested in the price of the water sports. So there you can see jet skis for rent, banana boat things that you can rent. So there are the prices, and it looks like you can do an island tour as well by speedboat. No prices on there that I can see. That'll give you an idea of the water sports. It doesn't say nothing on there as regards the long-tail boats, so unfortunately I can't answer that question. Now, while I'm talking about this subject, I want to thank everybody that's joined my Facebook group. Of course, if you haven't already, then do check the link out down below. There are a few links down there for Motorbike Hire, which is my wife's company. We're going to be doing different things over the next month on that with some offers. So if you're interested in hiring a car or a motorbike, then please do give my wife a shout. There's also a tour link down there for a tour agent that I recommend, Nika. So again, if you're interested in tours, but if you do contact Nika, then please do mention my name to get her best prices, because she tries to look after the customers that I send her way a little bit more than the average person in the street. So if that's something you're interested in, people are asking, can they book tours when they're in the UK and get local prices? Nika's the way to do that. You can book it online through her contact links and basically get the same prices or pay the same prices as what you would do if you were actually here in Thailand, whereas a lot of companies in the UK will charge you an extra amount at a commission basically. So that's one way of doing it. Wow, busy, very busy. But going back to the Facebook group, thank you for everybody that has joined it. If you watch my channel as well, it has now passed the 100,000 mark, which is just fantastic. Really fantastic. Very pleased about that. And I've got a couple of guys on board now that keep an eye on the group for me, because of the groups being so large. It does take a considerable time to look after, with different posts and approving members, etc, etc, and it's sort of eating into my time too much, and it's stopping me from getting out making videos. And obviously I've got businesses out here that I need to keep an eye on as well, so I've had to bring a few people on board to help run it. But please do take a look at it. We try to give what's the word I'm looking for, real advice, helpful advice in the group. We don't deal with hearsay and rumours. We try to give factual advice. That's the word I'm looking for. So if that's something that you're going to find helpful, then please take a look at that. And let's move up a little bit, because I've got my trainers on today and I don't want to get them soaking wet. Help it. So this is Karon Beach, mid-March. Weather-wise, there's no sign of any let-up. In fact, they're on about it's getting hotter. So if you're coming out here in the next few weeks, then sun is not going to be an issue. Ooh, it's getting warm now. So it's a little after 11 o'clock in the morning. As I've mentioned, it's Friday the 15th of March. I don't see any places advertising longboats. Personally, I think that's a little dangerous. They need to have a separate area where they're bringing in the jet skis, because that's right by where people are swimming and accidents can very easily happen. They normally have a area that's, I'm not going to say coned off, but they're normally where the buoys are, and you come down there and people don't swim in that area. But just coming in to shore like that is not particularly safe in my opinion, and could easily, somebody that's not paying attention when they're in the water could easily get hit by a jet ski. Again, jet skis, people are asking me about these. Are they safe to hire? Well, they're no more of a risk than anything else over here to hire, as long as you use a little bit of common sense. Check the jet ski over very carefully before you get on it. I always tell people, take some video, any marks on the jet ski, make sure you get, where possible, the vendor in shot. Let me just hurry up. And then if there's an argument when you come back, the vendor tries to say you've damaged it, you've got the video to show that the damage was there before you even left. A lot of people, they jump on them, they don't think, they go out, and that's when they get problems. Personally, I've never had problems hiring jet skis because I use common sense. Don't rush in to hire it. I take a good look around it. If it's damaged, I tend to stay away from it, because, you know, a damaged one, you've always got that doubt whether they're going to try and say you've damaged it even though you haven't. So again, just have a look around it. If there's something on there that you're not happy with, then try and hire a different one. That's my best advice. But always try and cover yourself. And then the owner, the vendor, can see that you're not an idiot, and he's less likely to try it on with you. I'm not saying it's a guarantee, because of course it's not, but it gives you a little bit of a safety net. So we've got some more there, no prices. That's all in Chinese. Obviously reflecting the customers that we're getting at the moment. A lot of Russians over here at the moment, of course, because of what's going on in their country. There's also a lot of Chinese that are coming over here. Not as many as there has been in the past, I will say. There's definitely, the Russians are leading the way as regards foreign tourists coming into Phuket. There's no doubt about that. It has affected property markets here in Phuket by pushing the price of the properties up because of demand, of course, supply and demand. A lot of properties in demand at the moment from foreign visitors. If you are a foreign visitor coming over to Thailand thinking about buying property, then my best advice, I would strongly say you need a property lawyer, because for foreigners to buy property over here, there are many pitfalls. Can foreigners buy property? Yes, they can. Can foreigners own land in Thailand? No, they cannot. Not legally. There are some workarounds, but they're not strictly 100% legal. And you definitely need the advice of a lawyer if you are thinking about buying property and you are not married to a Thai. Because my situation is, of course, many of you know, I'm married to Nat. She is a Thai national. She's quite entitled to have land in her name. I am not. I trust Nat 100%. Got no issues there. If there was an issue, then we wouldn't be married. Obviously, if you don't trust your wife 100%, then I'm going to be saying to you, well, why did you get married? Because if you've got a trust issue, then I don't see the point in getting married. So people say, oh, I don't want to register the land in my wife's name. Well, that's a little bit strange to me, I'll be honest with you. I know you're worried about splitting up in the future. Well, you know, there are things that you can safeguard yourself, even if the land's in your wife's name. Again, you need to speak to a proper property lawyer if you're, as a foreigner, buying land here without a Thai national. That is very important. And as I've said, there are some workarounds, but they're not strictly legal. And personally, I wouldn't advise you to go that way anyway, because it's too much of a gamble, in my opinion. That's just my personal opinion. Obviously, everybody's going to have their own opinions on that. Many people say don't buy, just rent. Well, again, you know, that's an individual's preference. If that's what you want to do, then there's nothing wrong with it. So as you can see, I've been walking for quite some time. Karon Beach is quite a long beach, to say the least, a lot longer than Katas Beach. So if that's something you like, long beaches, then Karon definitely fits within that bill. And being such a long beach, you should be able to find areas where you may have a little bit of peace and quiet, not too much, as you can see. We've got a row of sun lounges here, just a single row. Actually, there's a sort of row behind, but not a full row. And just down the bottom there, you can see the hotel Beyond Karon Resort, I believe it's called. You also have one of those in Qatar as well, which I've already covered. And you're going to see quite a few beach vendors selling fruit and different accessories, scarves, hats, sunglasses, that type of thing, flip-flops you can buy on the beach. Just bear in mind they may not be the cheapest. You might want to haddle with them a little bit, because you might be able to find the same in the local shops or markets a little bit cheaper. But if you're after convenience, we all know that convenience costs money. So if you want to buy it there and then, because you haven't got a hat with you or a pair of sunglasses maybe you've forgotten, then there are vendors walking around that you're going to be able to buy those products off. Let me just move back down away from these beach chairs, because I don't want to impose on anybody's privacy. I understand not everybody likes cameras. I try not to film people. I'm not out filming the people, I'm just filming the area. Sometimes people can get a little bit upset, shall we say, if they think you're filming them. The water today, it's not looking too bad at all. A little bit of sand in it that you can see. It's not crystal clear, but you're going to get that along the shoreline anyway. But as you move further out, it will clear up. People asking me, beaches for snorkeling, which are the best? Well, again, difficult to say, but Naham's pretty good either end of the beach, not in the middle, because you've got a rocky area over there. I don't know if you can make that out, but there is some rocks, and again towards the northern end of the beach you're going to find rocks. If you're after looking at marine life, then obviously you need some rocky areas, some reefs, some coral of some description, where you're going to see more of the marine life. So really you need to look towards the end of the beaches rather than the middle part, because there's nothing here apart from the sea. You may see a few fish, but you're not going to see loads, I wouldn't have thought. So Karon Beach doesn't benefit by having many hotels actually on the beach line. There's an area there where you're going to be able to get some shade behind, and then there's a road, and then most of the hotels are along there, including the Pullman is one of many, which used to be the Hilton. I think it's just over there somewhere, or maybe it's further down. Not quite sure where it is, but it's over there somewhere. Lots and lots of choice of hotels over the back, so they're not that far away from the beach. However, they're not directly on the beach, but beyond Karon, as you can see, that is about as close to the beach as you get. And I believe there is some hotels just at the northern end of Karon's beach as well that are pretty close, but they're more the northern end. I think the Holiday Inn have taken over from the Novotel that was here in Karon. There's been a lot of hotels that have had name changes or group changes over the last, nearly, see he's coming in there. Over the last few months there has been a lot of changes regarding hotels. The last sort of 6 to 12 months, a few have changed names. It's a fair old walk down here, to be fair. I've got to walk all the way back as well because I've parked my bike at the northern end. But I shall walk back through that area there in the shade, not along the beach because I'm directly under the sun here and it is hot. I am sweating and people are probably looking at me wondering why I'm walking down here all covered up. So we've been walking now for about 35 minutes and we're still not at the bottom of the beach. So you can see it's a fair old jaunt down here. So a good long beach. Great place to come early in the morning, late in the afternoon for a bit of fitness, walking, whatever it may be. Lots of places, got shaded areas, there's gym machines that you can use as well. And if that's your thing, if you're into fitness. More water sports, so there's at least 3 areas, probably 4 or 5 on the whole beach where you're going to be able to hire some form of water sports. I've seen surfboards as well, not that you're going to be able to do much surfing really here, not at this time of year. There's not really ideal conditions for surfing, but if you're an amateur and you just want to have a float around, then maybe you want to go and hire a surfboard. Certain times of the year when the monsoons are here, the rains are here, obviously we do get slightly larger waves and they do have surfing competitions on Karon Beach. I don't know about Karon. I'm not quite sure whether they actually have a surfing competition and I'm going to get my shoes wet in a minute, which I don't want to do. I forgot to put my other ones on this morning. Ooh. Wow, it is hot. Woohoo! Okay, let's talk about sun creams. Something very important. A lot of people are saying you need higher factors over here at the moment, and I have to agree with that. You do. If you normally use a 30, maybe you want to think of bumping it up to 40 or 50 factor because it's not going to stop you from getting brown. That isn't what the higher factors do. What they do is they allow you to stay in the sun longer before you actually burn. A lot of people think, oh, if I use a 50 factor, I won't get a suntan. No, that's nonsense. You still get a suntan. It just means you can stay in the sun longer before burning. So that's something you might want to consider. Now, are sun creams expensive over in Thailand? Generally, I have to say, yes, they are a little bit more expensive over here. From what I've seen, there are some brands that maybe not as well known, that are more reasonably priced, but how good those brands are, I can't comment on. I don't know. But obviously, the more well-known brands, if you're going to places like Boots, because we have Boots over here, so people from the UK will know this name. If you're going to Boots over here, then the sun creams will be more expensive here than what they will be in the Boots in the UK, that's for sure. Generally, are they massively expensive? Again, no, but I would say you need to shop around because there are some shops that do sell them for quite a big markup, so you have to be careful. It's one of those things. Now, I would recommend you looking in the larger super cheap supermarkets. They have quite a good range of sun creams, and I'll try and insert some photos that I took. They've got Banana Boat and things like that you might have heard of, which I believe is an okay brand. I don't know how good Banana Boat is, but I have used that sun cream in the past and it's been reasonably good. They have Nivea and things like that over here, so different brands. They've got brands from Australia and America, from the UK, because each country seems to have their own brands. So again, it depends on which you like. It's not a guarantee they will have all the brands over here, and some are going to be more expensive than others. Ooh. I think I underestimated how long this Karon Beach is to walk down. Normally in the past I've done it in sections where I've walked so far, then gone back, jumped on the bike, moved down a little bit. so on and so forth. I don't remember me walking all the way down here in one go, which I'm doing today to show you. So this is going to be a long video. Apologies for that. A few less people here. So I'd say we're just past the halfway mark now. And it's a little bit quieter in this area, which is nice. And also you've got a little bit of shade here behind the sunbeds just here in the tree line. So again, coming up to sort of 12, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, you might want to jump into that area if you can get a space. Of course, if you've got sunbeds, it's not so bad. The other thing I want to mention is elephant sanctuaries, because they are a big topic within my group. A lot of people asking about elephant sanctuaries, which ones should they visit, which ones are ethical. The big problem that we've got at the moment over here in Phuket, a lot of these so-called elephant sanctuaries are now using the word ethical when they aren't 100% ethical. So there are a couple that I personally know too, that I've been told about, that are 100% ethical. Now of course people want to interact with elephants. Of course they see them, they think that they are majestic animals, there's no doubt about that, and people want to interact with them. But if you're interacting with the elephant, such as bathing, washing them, that is not ethical as regards an ethical park, because truly ethical parks do not allow or minimize the contact that you have with the elephants. You can help prepare the food, you can watch them from a distance, but you don't really have any close personal contact with the elephants because it's not classed as ethical. So again, I'm not saying I'm for ethicals, I'm not saying I'm against. I try to be as unbiased as I can with my opinions, because I realise, being in social media, that it's not fair to side for one or the other. I don't personally agree with animal cruelty, I never have done. Of course we've got Shadow, our dog, so I'm against animal cruelty, but I understand individuals have their own opinions and thoughts. We're all adults, you should be able to know what you want to do. Whether it's right or wrong, it's not for me to tell you that. You have to decide yourselves. But there are only a very few ethical elephant sanctuaries here. It's something that I'm going to be doing a lot of research on over the next few weeks. Maybe bring a video, but definitely be posting in the group about the ethical ones and the ones that are less ethical. Because unfortunately, there have been some instances in the last few weeks that have been brought into the media. And when I talk about the media, I'm talking about the Thai media now, the local Thai media, of elephant sanctuaries marketing themselves as ethical to make money from tourists when they clearly aren't ethical. So this is something that I would say, if you're considering visiting one of these sanctuaries, that you do your research very carefully. If you are looking for an ethical sanctuary, then you need to look at it, because just because it says it's ethical doesn't mean it is. Because Thailand, unfortunately, people can get away with marketing things in such a way that they're not being 100% honest, and in other countries they would be in serious trouble for doing that. But over here they seem to get away with it. So I would say, if that's something you want to do your research. That's all I can say, because one of the sanctuaries have been marketed here for some time as ethical, and it is now being closed down, and the license has been pulled from the individual that owns it. I'm not going to mention names because again, social media is a problem with the Thai laws over here. You can have problems with it. So do your research if you're interested in going and visiting the elephants. Okay, well, we're now coming closer to the southern end of Karon Beach, and I am sweating. Woo! Definitely need to buy a bottle of water on the way back. Get some hydration on the go. I don't think it's quite as busy down here. It might, maybe at the bottom there, but it seemed more busier at the southern end. Yeah, plenty of people in the sea enjoying it. No signs of any jellyfish today. That isn't to say they're not about. I'm just not seeing any physical signs on the beach of jellyfish being washed up. Some days people are reporting loads of jellyfish on the beaches, and then other days none at all. So it's just something I think you need to keep an eye out, or not overly worry about it, because it's not going to be every single day of your holiday you're going to have a problem with it, but you may have a couple of days where you do see some. This section of Karon Beach is actually quite nice. There's not too many parasols here. It's not too crowded. There is plenty of areas there where you can grab some shade if the sun gets too much for you if you haven't got a parasol. That's quite nice here. The only trouble is there is nowhere to get food and drink from that close to the beach. You're going to have to walk to the road behind. Let's have a look. We're coming up to the 47-minute mark. Wow. Almost an hour to walk down to the southern part of Karon Beach. Of course, I'm not in any particular hurry. I'm not walking at a fast pace. You could probably walk it a little bit quicker than I am, because obviously I'm carrying the camera. I can't feel a breeze, even though the parasols are showing there is a bit of a breeze. It would be nice if there was a breeze. A few more long-tail boats here that I can see. Maybe you could rent one of those, because people are asking, can they rent a long-tail boat to go to Banana Beach and a few other different beaches? And it's difficult to answer that question. Some people have said they have rented from Karon Beach to go to other beaches, but it's certainly not going to be that cheap. I would say catching a taxi, whether you use one of the taxi apps or an actual taxi, would be cheaper than using a long tail boat. However, I'm guessing that the long tail boat experience would be nicer. Obviously you're going to be skimming around the coast of Phuket, so you're going to see Phuket from the sea rather than from the roads, which would be a nicer experience. Whoa. I can see somebody put a tent up there, small little tent for a bit of shade. That may be a good idea in the daytime, but for those of you who are thinking about camping on the beach overnight, that wouldn't be a good idea because it's not allowed. And if the police happen to see a tent on the beach in the evening time, they're going to be moving you along. Ooh. Now, if the camera should suddenly go off, that's probably because it's overheated, because it's been on for non-stop nearly an hour, and I can already feel that the camera is very warm. So just be mindful. If the video suddenly stops, it's because it's switched itself off because of the heat, because it is very warm for cameras at the moment. Hopefully it's going to make it to the bottom. We're not that far now from the bottom of the Karon Beach, but if we don't, then you know what's happened. Okay, this area a little bit more busier now as we're coming towards the southern end of the beach. A few people in the water. Sunbeds busy over there, I can see. Wait. I'm trying to pick up the pace, but every time I walk on the flat sand. Now, that is a jellyfish. So, there's one that we can see. So there are some about. Now that's got a purple tinge to it, so I'm definitely not going to be picking it up, as some people have shown, because I believe that that one may be a stinging one. I'm not an expert on jellyfish, but there you go. You can see a jellyfish on the shoreline. That's the first one I've seen, but there you go. They are about. So if there's one on the sand, I would guess there's probably more in the water. Not that it's putting people off going in. Now, one thing I should mention, that if you do get stung, what's that? That looks like another one. Okay, so that's two. So they are about. Now, what I didn't mention in the last video, or I don't think I did, is the lifeguards now are equipped with treatments if you get stung. There's another one down there as well. So we're getting more down. We're getting a lot more jellyfish down the southern end of the Karon's Beach than up the northern end. I didn't see any at all, but there's three there that we've seen in quite a short space. So I would guess there are some around this area for sure in the water, even though there's quite a lot of people in the water that you can see yourself swimming. If you should be unlucky enough to get stung by a jellyfish, then seek out the lifeguards, because they do have treatment that's going to be able to ease the sting, to save you running around trying to find something. I mentioned the vinegar can help neutralize the stings. It may work, but I believe the lifeguards now do have stuff, because a lot of people have been reported getting stung by them. So they are equipped. So there you go. If you get stung, seek the lifeguards out. Oh. I don't know whether he's seen one there in the water. No. I could see him looking for something. Thought maybe it was a jellyfish. But no. Boom. Sorry Cap, good morning. Again, parasailing, banana boats, sofa boat. That'd be interesting. Water skiing. Okay, we're now coming down to the southern end, so just here is the Tan Terrace Beach Club, and then next to that is nearly had me. Is the Beyond Karon Resort, which I hear is very nice, and you can see the difference between the beach all the way along now with this video, starting the very northern part, making our way all the way along the beach down to the northern end. And I think I'm going to call it to that because we're nearly up to an hour video, and I don't really want to go over an hour because I know you people will get bored. You probably only watch 10 minutes of this video anyway. But I hope you've enjoyed this walk along Karon's beach, which is going to lead into some nightlife coverage of the Karon area. I did do the overview, started to do the videos. Should be doing that very shortly. In the next few days, over the next week, I shall be in Karon in the evening, seeing what it's like. I might go tonight because Friday night they have the market on in Karon. Market normally takes place in Karon on Tuesdays and Fridays, but it's not guaranteed every week, and the reason for that is because it's held in the temple grounds, and sometimes they aren't allowed to have the market on due to certain dates in the Buddhist calendar, funerals taking place, etc, etc. So sometimes when you go on a Tuesday it may not be open, or on a Friday, even though it is listed as being open on those days. It can be because of the conflict with the temple, with the market. If there's something going on within the temple, the market won't be open. So just bear that in mind. But I've come past it this morning on the way to the southern, no, let's get it right, on the way to the northern end of the beach, and it was being set up, so it should be on tonight. Okay, let's take a final look of this area. Again, you can see quite a large number of sunbeds there. The Beyond Karon Resort there, and the Tan Terrace Beach Club in the corner there, as I've mentioned. Okay, well, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if so, then you know what to do. Please do give it a thumbs up. Check out my other channel where I explore places outside of Phuket. Everything will be down in the description, so check out the links. Don't forget to leave me a comment. If you have some information that I might find useful, then please drop it in the comment below. If you've got any thoughts on what I've been talking about today, again, drop it in the comments. I'll have a read. I can't guarantee on answering everybody's comments, but I do my best. And I guess that just leaves me to say, until next time, you have a fantastic day, and I'll see you on the next one.